Hello everyone, I am Cryptid Scarecrow, and welcome back to Doki Literature Club. Last we left off, we just met the girls, joined the club, found Yuri the waifu, and we wrote our first poem. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Hey again, Scarecrow. Glad to see you didn't run away on us, haha. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but at least I keep my word. Well, I'm back at the Literature Club. I was the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. Thanks for keeping your promise, Scarecrow. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you. Making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it? Oh, come on, like he deserves any slack. Oh, hush, Natsuki. I want to hear more from Yuri. Sayori told me you didn't even want to join any clubs this year. And last year too. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what. But if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for somebody who keeps her manga collection in the club room. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Moniki and Monica, or Moniki and manga. Manga is literature. I agree, it is. It's just more pictured form than normal books. Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. Don't worry, guys. Scarecrow always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He helps me with busy work without me even asking, like cooking, cleaning my room. How dependable. Sayori, that's because your room is so messy it's distracting. And you almost set the house on fire once. Is that so? You two are really good friends, aren't you? I might be a little jealous. How come? You and Scarecrow can become good friends too. Oh, I want to become more than just friends with you, Yuri. Sayori, or Sayori. As usual, Sayori seems oblivious to the weird situation she just put me into. Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know? But wait, Sayori? Me? Not really. Don't be shy. It's really nothing. What is it? Never mind. Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. What do I do? I'm sorry, Yuri, I wasn't thinking. I guess that means it's up to me to rescue the situation. Booyah. Hey, don't worry about me. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place. So any nice gesture from you is a pleasant surprise. It'll make me happy no matter what. Is that so? Yeah. I won't make it a big deal if you don't want me to. Or want it to be. Alright. Well, here. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention, even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it, if you want. How is this girl accidentally being so cute? I know, right? She's freaking adorable. She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like, despite me not reading much. See, I've always been into the shy kind of girl. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Phew. Well, you can read it on your own. I look forward to hearing what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for the club. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Sayori and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging through the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more, but at the same time, I would feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Ah! Crap. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaked another glance at me, and our eyes met for a split second. Ah, Magica! But that only made her hide her face deeper in her book. Oh, sorry. Or sorry. I was just spacing out. I'll mutter this, sensing I made her uncomfortable. Oh, it's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so... That's the book that you gave me, right? I wanted to reread some of it. Not for any particular reason. Just curious, how come you have 2 copies of the same book? Ah. Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday... Ah, that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy 2 of them. I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear it. Once this starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story. Is that so? What's it about anyways? Well, Yuri closes the book and scans her eyes over the back. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. There are ominous looking eye symbol on the front cover. Alright. I just wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about this girl in high school who moves in with her long-lost younger sister. But as soon as she does so, her life gets really strange. She gets targeted by these people who escaped from a human experiment prison. And while her life is in danger, she needs to desperately choose who to trust. No matter what she does, she ends up destroying most of her relationships, and her life starts to fall apart. That's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came from nowhere. Yuri gently giggles all of a sudden. Are you not a fan of that kind of thing, Scarecrow? I mean, my name kinda should tell you. Just saying. I like horror. No, it's not that. Well, there's also a little bit behind the name, but that's for a different story. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kinds of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri is into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just that those kinds of stories, They challenge you to look at life from a strange new perspective. When horrible things happen, not just because someone wants to be evil, but because they have their own goals or their own philosophy that they believe in. Then suddenly, when you thought you related to the protagonist, they've made out to be the naive one for letting their one-sided morals interfere with the villain's plans. Isn't that usually how plots go, though? It's usually like the one-sided kind of perspective of the protagonist on what they want. Usually to stop the villain's plan, but still. I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts, I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. And please, stop me if I start talking too much. I really don't think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all. Ah, that's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading it right. You don't have to. What are you saying? Just a moment ago, you said you were looking forward to it. Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. Alright, it's fine if I sit here, right? I sit to the seat next to Yuri. Or I slip into the seat next to Yuri's. Ah! Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything. Alright. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing. Maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri is in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. Sorry. I was just... Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you? I do. I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean... Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of us. Ah, I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm is in the way, so instead, I use my right arm to hold the book open. Ah, I guess that makes it kind of difficult to turn the page. Here. Ah, she's so cute. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. Ah! I do the same with my right arm, on the right side of the book. I mean, that would be common sense, right? That way, I turn the page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face, and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you ready? Ah? To turn the page. Or to turn the page. Ah, sorry. I think I got a bit distracted for a second. Oh, I bet you did, my man. I bet you did. I glance over at Yuri's face again, and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. Ah, that's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I could do, since you've been so patient with me. Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finished the page before me, so I turn it on my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri. This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little. You think so? How does she? Well, I guess she's more blunt in a lot of ways. But she also second guesses all the things that she says and does. Like she's afraid she'll do something wrong. And it's not like I could see into your head or anything. But they're kind of reminiscent of some of your mannerisms. I see. Yuri remains silent for a moment. But the Scarecrow, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. That's so embarrassing that you think that. Well, wait. I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. Sorry, I really didn't know you were self-conscious about that sort of thing. I guess I more meant that it's kind of cute. What are you saying all of a sudden? Okay, everyone. I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought. Is that alright, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. It's not... It's fine. Yuri releases her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. Alright. I guess I'll do some more reading tonight. Or would you prefer I'll only read it with you? I guess I don't have too much of a preference either way. In that case, I'll read a little more tonight. It'll be more fun to read with you after it picks up a bit, you know? That's good reasoning. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters in your own time. Alright. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, then slip it back into my bag. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. Oh, I'm sure it does, bud. I'm sure it does. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much inspiration, since I've never really done this before. Well, not that everyone's ready, or, well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. That actually fits her personality. On the other hand, Monica writes hers in a composition notebook. That seems fitting too. Very organized person, she seems. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Okay! Who should I, let read my poem first? I mean, obviously the waifu, right? Yuri. Yuri's gotta be the first choice. Yuri seems the most experienced, so I should start with her. I can trust her opinion to be fair. Not that, I'm biased or anything. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional! Eh? What was that? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. I... He's going to hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. Eh? That's... I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So? What kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before. I mean, me, I did in high school, but that's been years. My character probably hasn't, though. Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time. Really? See? I knew it. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just meant, Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her fingers along the words in the poem, as if breaking it down more thoroughly. Yeah. Okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical for new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they are trying to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. Did we have a topic matter? I don't think we did. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened. Okay. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning, for example, and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little biased, though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri apologized to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily, as if it's a rare opportunity for her. Which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Ghost under the lights. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow, bathing. It must be this one, the last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, calms, breathing air of the present but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back. I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting. Actually, that was really pretty handwriting. It's just, I'm not good with reading that kind of handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you a long time to read. Ah. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. It is. I mean, I think so at least. Eh? That's a relief. Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It wasn't too short? I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts, Yuri? Hoo-hoo! Actually, this story isn't about a ghost at all, Scarecrow. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poems often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolized or symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of her past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn, putting it that way. I haven't even thought of that. That's impressive. Eh? It's nothing really. Yours was impressive too, so... Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you. You think so? Yeah, of course. Ah. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this. But in the end, I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Scarecrow. Oh, thank you. Ah, me too. Okay, who next? Monika's the president of the club, Sayori is my best friend, and Natsuki is the tsundere, or... let's go with Monika. Hi, Scarecrow. Having a good time so far? Ah, yeah. Good, glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we could do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course, I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyways, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Don't worry, Scarecrow. You're not going to catch me doing that little hip turn, Monika. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monika my poem. Great job, Scarecrow. I was going, oh, in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go so far, so deep, or go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way, it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyways. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Yes, I do. Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism. Unlike Sayori, who likes using simple and direct words to describe happiness and sadness, Yuri likes it when readers are left to derive their own meaning out of it. It's very challenging to write like that effectively, both allowing people to get something out of it just by feel, or letting them deeply analyze all the nuances. It can take years of practice, which I'm assuming Yuri has at this point. I never really asked though. I'm sure I'm nowhere near her level yet. Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Just keep exploring and learning by trying new things. I'm sure you'll end up trying different things a lot. It could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I'd love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little bit biased towards their own kinds of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Anyways, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Hole in wall. It couldn't have been me. See, the direction the spackle protrudes. A noisy neighbor? A nosy neighbor? An angry boyfriend? I'll never know. I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind, like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. My retina's already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole. It wasn't too bright. It was too deep, stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out. And he, on the other side, was looking in. So, what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. Haha, it's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it could be very powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Well, I'm not sure I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other. Anyways, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you're trying so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. It's actually good advice. Thanks for listening. Okay, well, that's where I'm going to leave off this episode. We're starting to get into a little bit of the meat of it. Getting a lot closer to Yuri, which, I mean, I like that. But we'll just have to pick up these next two poems in the next episode. This is Cryptid Scarecrow, and I will see you later. Bye-bye!